Angel Olsen, big time album review. Let's chat about it. Good morning, good evening, and good day, my friends. John here from What's Spitting, here tonight to chat about this latest album from Angel Olsen. It's called Big Time. Angel Olsen is a Chicago-based singer-songwriter. She's been at it for years now, and it's been pretty interesting to watch her grow and change over the years. And in her early days, I was a very casual fan. Her halfway home debut, a lot of people raved about, a lot of people loved this album. And I kind of just thought it was okay. I mean, yes, it was very tender and very loving and well performed at times, but I also wasn't that keen on the production, and I kind of got the feeling that Angel Olsen was maybe holding back at points. But with her next project, Burn Your Fire for No Witness, I became an overnight mega fan. It is so good. It's so much more consistent of an album. The performances are great. It has some of my favorite Angel tracks of all time as well, like High Five. Her follow-up, My Woman, it deserves every accolade it got. It is an awesome album. And since its 2019 release, I have absolutely adored the very larger-than-life and epic and grandiose All Mirrors as well. Now, the last time we heard from Angel was in 2020 with the sort of companion album to All Mirrors' Whole New Mess, where she stripped down most of the tracks from this album and re-recorded them in a much more intimate setting. However, I was really disappointed by it. There are some great alterations and some really incredible performances, but the very hushed aesthetic and the production just is not where I want to hear Angel Olsen. It's kind of why I wasn't into her debut album. Now, like I said, Angel has changed a lot over the years, and hearing these new singles and the alt country and Americana vibes, it's clear that she is once again shifting her style, but man, is it good. This album starts off with all the good times, and like, come on, man. This is freaking awesome. I love the beautiful, vast atmosphere and her smoky vocals, which harken back to just a so much simpler, raw time in singer-songwriters. Now, if you've been keeping up with Angel, the last few years for her have been very eventful, and I will argue that these lyrics throughout this whole album are some of her most personal to date. It's so touching. It's full of life and beauty, and her booming vocals on top of it just, make it hit home. The incredible chorus, the horns that pop in. This is an incredible single. It's a sharp left turn for Angel, but she does really well with it. And listen, if you're a fan of her classic stuff and you're not into this new album, I get it, but I actually love this sound. Big Time, this album's title track, is also really fantastic. Once again, it shows her diving into all country and Americana. Spoiler, she keeps this up throughout the entire album. But this track, compared to this album's intro, is much more straightforward, much more just, easy to take in. I love the slide guitar. This chorus, once again, is just so immediate, and like all of her vocals on this entire album are just outstanding. I cannot tell you how much I love this track. It's such a simple sentiment, but it's so universal. Dream Thing is a very rightfully dreamy song too. It's once again very personal, and on the sort of hushed instrumental that we get on this track, Angel is the star, as she almost always is, and it makes her seem larger than life. It's gorgeous, it's surreal at points, and it's so vast and epic and just so gorgeous. Just know going into this album that it's very different, and if it's not for you, just move on. Ghost On the other hand, is a much more traditional ballad, and that's not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, it reminds me of her early work and where she was aiming for in her early days, but with a lot glossier production and, some bigger and larger-than-life performances. And a lot of these very minimal, very quiet instrumentals, very straightforward instrumentals, hit the nail right on the head and just put in so many nice little details to make this album seem so vast and cinematic. It's really easy to just get lost in. It's so full of love and emotion too. Now, this album is pretty freaking solid and really just another knockout from Angel Olsen. There are like one or two moments where I'm just not feeling what she's doing though. Like All the Flowers, I think this is the worst track here. This is one of very few tracks here that's just a little too light on the ears for me. Her performance is pretty spot on and pretty likable, but this instrumental is just way too quiet and minimal for my liking. There's nothing going on. And I'm kind of on the same boat as far as Go Home. Like, of all the tracks here, this one is another one where I kind of just wish it was a little bit more in your face. Like here, this bluesy, very smoky instrumental is more average than anything, and I don't get to say that a lot on this album because it is very solid. But the instrumental here, while it does pick up towards the end and things get pretty exciting for a minute, overall it's just not my cup of tea. It's awkward. It almost sounds like, I don't know, like a filler track between her All Mirrors album and this album, big time. Like, it feels like where she was a couple of years ago and a little bit of what she's doing now, but not as cohesive. But the rest of this album is one of the most gorgeous albums I've heard all year of any genre. Right Now is much more meditative. This track is a slow burner. But in this case, it really works, mostly because Angel's performance is breathtaking. As this track rolls on, it's one of the more straightforward ballad tracks here, but it's also probably the best ballad here. The lyrics, her warm vocals, this atmosphere, it's all so good. It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel really warm. It makes me want to drive to the mountains and just take in all the fresh air. This Is How It Works is just another great track. This one hits me right in the heart. I love the rustic atmosphere and the twangy guitars. These are seemingly really small details of this track that just make it pop so much. But this is the Angel Olsen show, and I'm fine with that because she's knocking it out of the park again. It has this incredible sense of longing, and while there's a lot of country and Americana vibes on this album, I don't think you really need to be majorly into either one of them to really appreciate what she's doing. I don't even mind that this track is well over 6 minutes long. Through the Fires is a really cool track too. It is probably the smokiest and bluesiest track here. It almost has a lounge vibe to it. I don't want to bring up the Twin Peaks Roadhouse once again, but yeah, here we are. It is stunning, and Chasing the Sun as a finale is really powerful. It's a really tender, low-key piano ballad, but it is a juggernaut of one. The crisp production, the very lush instrumental, and her very hushed, very quiet vocals just wrap up everything on this album really well. And when the vocals pick up, just don't even. It's dazzling. This album needs to be listened to for its beauty alone, but outside of that, Angel Olsen's evolution again, her fearlessness, her incredible vocal performances, the sheer beauty of this album, and the cinematic vibes. Once again, yes, it's sort of her take on the alternative country and Americana sound, but she does it really well. And yeah, there's one or two tracks on here that I feel like could be a little bit more in your face, if I may, but for the most part, this is another knockout from Angel Olsen, and it's probably the most beautiful album I've heard all year. I'm feeling a very decent 8 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.